Hey there, and welcome to Marriage Talks, a real, authentic, and relatable podcast about how to thrive in your marriage.
Here you're going to find helpful information shaped by a biblical worldview on all things marriage related, sex, money, parenting, and so much more. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
I'm Michael.
I'm Elizabeth.
All right, so we've got a good episode for you guys coming up.
Yeah. This is actually a really, really good topic.
Yes.
And is a listener question. And I'm so thankful that our listener submitted this question.
Yeah, we ask a lot of the times, hey, if you guys got any episode ideas for us, hit us up. And someone did, and we wanted to answer it right away.
Yeah. Before we get into it, though, we want to let you know that today's episode is sponsored by the Marriage Talks Patreon page. And there we have different tiers that you can check out, more direct access to us, and lots of fun perks. Plus, it helps the ministry of Marriage Talks, which we absolutely are so thankful for. So make sure you check it out. Link will be in the show notes.
Yeah. And don't forget to rate us and review us on iTunes.
Yes.
Or Apple Podcasts. They're changing names. So it helps us to be found and helps us to kind of get the word out and tell other people about us.
Yes. Yeah. Make sure you do it. Plus, we read the reviews, so you get a shout out.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
What more could you ask for?
Yeah, I know. Life complete.
You're like internet famous instantly.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to get into the question today, which was kind of phrased like, how do you work through when, say, you're doing something and your spouse has opinions about it, or vice versa, kind of like a micromanaging spouse? How do you handle that? Which is a really, really great question, because I'm pretty positive that it affects almost 100% of marriages.
Oh, absolutely.
In some form or fashion.
Oh, yeah. And it's difficult to navigate because if you want something done a certain way, you probably want to push your agenda a little bit. You might not even realize it's being pushed. You might just do that
Very
automatically.
true.
But it can be really detrimental to the relationship if you're not careful. So there's a very balancing act you have to pull off. And not a lot of people are very good at that.
No.
You'll find some who are really experts at kind of gently getting something done a certain way or whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's because they've done it a zillion times and they've learned what not to do and what
Mostly,
to do.
yeah.
On hands experience.
Yeah.
So we have had our fair share, and we're going to be talking about it, but our fair share of navigating this in our own marriage. And really our prayer is just that you guys kind of learn from the mistakes that we've made and don't do those. And, we just give advice. We give the best advice that we feel called to give. And it's just really our prayer is that it helps your marriage and blesses your marriage to avoid that conflict.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah. And I think for us, the most tangible, we have a lot, but the one that comes to my mind first is the dishes. I think we have our own philosophy on that. Dishes and kitchen. I'll say that. Dishes and kitchen, how that gets handled at the end of the evening.
Yeah, we did an interview, one of our first interviews with another couple who have a podcast, and this came up in our conversation with them a number of times. Yeah, because this was kind of one of the biggest blow up points of our early marriage too. So that's why it's such a specific memory for us. As soon as you talk about disagreement in marriage, for us, it was like for years, we fought about this problem.
Yes, we did.
Because Elizabeth's idea of what you should do whenever the kitchen
dinner's over,
done, and every dish should be accounted for, washed, dried, put away.
No, just put in the dishwasher.
Well, yeah. I mean, prepared for washing or whatever you might do it. We didn't have a working dishwasher. Well, it's been on, it's been off, it's been kind of hit and miss.
Yeah.
But then is included with that, which is I'm cool with that. I get that. But then it was she looked at me funny. The next part was just are you serious? You want that done every night? That's insane. And for you ladies out there are going to hear this and think, of course, you dummy. Of course she wanted that. It's obvious. Every single square inch of the countertop had to be scrubbed with soap and water too, every night. I was like, that's a lot of work. And dry.
The sink.
And the sink.
The sink has to be cleaned out.
Yeah. I mean, I understand it now a lot better, but it was just like, but that's going to take like an hour to do.
Well, you just have to plan your night accordingly. Like that when we first got married, we've talked about this on other episodes. We decided for us, we really don't distinguish like you always do this, I always do this, because we understand that like, you know, you're going to have seasons where you can't come through on the lawn care every time. And I don't mind doing the lawn. So there's been some weekends where Michael's had to work like several weekends in a row. And I just ask a family member, hey, can you just come over and watch the kids and I'll do the lawn? So it's like kind of, you know, picking up the slack. Not a bad thing at all. Really not a bad thing at all.
Yeah.
But with the kitchen. Oh, with the kitchen.
We got to be careful what we're talking about. Let's not get riled up again.
This is something that Michael said, like he doesn't mind doing, so he does it. And then I do the laundry. So I always do the laundry. I don't mind the laundry. I do the laundry.
And I hate the laundry.
And you hate the laundry. I don't detest the dishes because I have done them many a times for you, but I would prefer not to do them.
Sure.
And so I cannot tell you guys how many times we would have late night arguments about just wipe down the counters, clean out the sink. You're standing right here. I don't understand why you can't do it. Guys, I'm telling you, this is what our arguments sounded like.
Pretty close, yeah.
Really, really close, almost verbatim. And the thing that I had to realize, and that is not to say that like Michael gets off the hook. Yes, the kitchen needs to be cleaned. The counters need to be wiped off. The sink needs to be cleaned out. Stuff should not be left out, period. There's no reason for that. But what I had to learn was that Michael wasn't necessarily raised to prioritize that, or he just wasn't accountable for doing that. So it was a habit that he had to develop and really take pride in doing. That's not just like an overnight thing where like do it and he's like, okay, here I go to work. Like,
this isn't Leave It to Beaver.
Yeah, it's just not how it works. So for him to have to kind of like undo 24 years of not doing it or not prioritizing it, or it literally not even being on his mind. Like another one would just be, and this is very early on, he does not do this anymore, but like leaving socks around. He'd be like, why don't I have any clean socks?
I did that last week.
Well, if you don't,
I found it.
If you don't put the dirty socks in the washer or in the hamper, I can't wash them. That's not my fault. I'm not your mom. Clean up your socks. I
feel like this is one of those, this episode is literally airing our dirty laundry. But airing our dirty dishes too.
Yeah. But you know, it's stuff like that maybe growing up, like it just like, maybe he's like his mom just collected it and put it in one place and then he took it to his room. That might have been the setup, which was great for his house, but you know, he's in a different one now and we're responsible for keeping the common areas clean and cleaning up after ourselves. And so it just the hard thing is, and this is where like this is
I'm just laughing. Sorry, I had the thought like our three kids leave so many socks. It's like Hansel and Gretel, like breadcrumbs, like where are all these socks from?
Yeah.
You only have 2 feet.
Yeah. But the thing that I really, and we both had to come to terms with this, was number one, we grew up so differently. I mean, so differently. One is not better than the other. Just say that right now. And you might be thinking like, well, my upbringing was better than my spouse's. Like, that's not what we're saying. Well,
and it doesn't also help to say that at all, because that's going to be pretty much an argument guarantee.
Right. It's just the fact that they were different. Number two, we are two totally different cleaners. 1000%. Michael is...
Just say it. I'm terrible.
Michael is a Chandler cleaner, while his intentions are noble, extremely noble. Sometimes he misses the mark and things are just all out of whack.
And so you're a Monica.
And I am 1000% a Monica. Like deep clean, you know, I have had to relax because of having children. There's not enough hours in the day. And that's okay. That is a season. Our house will not always look like a tornado went through it. But the most important thing is that this house is filled with love and we enjoy each other and we're having a good time,
Yeah, it's a cozy tornado.
Yeah. But, deep down, I am a Monica clean, sparkling, disinfect, all that stuff. So we have that. 2 different upbringings. We view cleaning differently. And then number 3 is like, this is how God made us. So for him to expect me to act any differently and for me to expect him to act any differently is just it's not okay, because that's how God made us. And I just wanted to put a disclaimer out there. Like, when somebody is doing it wrong, then it does need to be fixed, of course. But if it's just a different way of doing it, then it's not wrong.
Yeah. And when it comes to cleaning stuff, wrong is like, as long as it gets cleaned, I don't know how you can do something necessarily wrong unless it's just like time wasting.
There's lots of ways to do it wrong.
See, that's the difference right there. I don't even know. I can't even think of a way. And she's like, I got 10 ways. So we come from a different place with especially cleaning. Cleaning is the easiest thing to talk about because we're so far apart. Like my mom used to go crazy when we had 2 stories in the house and all the bedrooms were upstairs, but the laundry area was downstairs. So mom would kind of, as things they would like gather up on the 4th step or whatever at her like arm level to drop off. And there's 4 boys in my family. So this happened a lot. But mom would like put stuff where it needed to go up to a room.
She's making it so easy for you.
Yeah, I know. It's like, Mom, I'm sorry. But what we would do for like our entire time living there was you would literally leap over the pile of your stuff. Like, I see my stuff. That's mine. I know it needs to go up, but I need to get upstairs right now. And so I just jump over it. Like, Mom's like, what are you doing? It's right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yes. And that's the thing I'm talking about. Like, you literally don't see it. You don't register it. It doesn't matter to you. Whereas I'm like, oh, it's my stuff. I'll take it upstairs. Like,
I feel like I would do better with that now. But like as a 16-year-old, I was not on that same vibe. Again, Mom, I'm sorry. I would do better now. I promise.
Yeah. So it's like that is a difference in like how God made us. That's not something that registers for Michael. Those are things that register for me. I kind of like plan in the future, like what are things that need to be done. Michael is very here and now. That is just the way God made us. So if I need for him to help me prepare for our party that's coming up in a few days, I then need to ask him, hey, can you help me clean this common area or go clean the bathroom or do that, this, and the other, just to like alleviate the day of stuff. And it's just recognizing that we are different in how we approach that. And I think I just had to be, and I totally botched this early on in our marriage where like, I was just like, you just need to change. Like,
yeah, you did botch it.
I did. Just be like me. Just do it like me. But it was like, no, that's me getting angry at how God made you, which is not good. What I needed to do was to recognize that you're different. And maybe it's just like, you just didn't know how to do it, or you just didn't understand that that was an important thing. And so we just need to talk about it.
Yep. That's a big thing. Yeah. Don't discourage the differences, because that is one of the best things about your marriage as a 2-person entity. Like, God created you in very specific ways. I have like ways where I'm more patient with something, and you have ways like at nighttime. Holy cow. I would not be patient at nighttime with the kids. And Elizabeth has like endless patience at night with the kids. And I needed that. That was a big difference between us that really served our children really well. In those times where like, I'm losing it. This is the 3rd time I've been up. And she's like, just remember, this is a time to spend with them. Don't worry about it. They can't help it. So that's just one other example of like just the beauty of having different perspectives, different gifts, different traits and stuff like that.
Yeah. And if we haven't convinced you enough, have you ever had a job where somebody micromanaged you? And if you're listening and you have, it's the worst. So maybe that's enough convincing to not do that to your spouse.
Yeah.
Just to like put yourself in their shoes. How does it feel to have somebody, you know, just look at everything you do and be like, well, you know, you really should have done it this way, or you should have done it that way. It's like, I have a very sweet friend. She's older and she's been married for many, many years. And she once told me, because this was a real thing in her marriage. And she's kind of like Michael, and her husband is kind of like me. I will assess every situation, every room, everything that my eyes are on. I will assess it and figure out what is the most efficient way to either lay out this room or to do a task. It is a curse and a blessing. And a lot of times it's exhausting, but
it's sometimes a curse to me.
yeah. But so this woman, she would, load the dishwasher. All the dishes are going in. They're not like loaded wrong, because there is a wrong way to load a dishwasher. Just put that out there.
Especially if stuff falls through into the heating element.
Yeah. But
I've never done that. I have. But,
there's a wrong way to do it, but she was doing it right. It was just her way of doing it. And her husband comes in and he's like, you sure you want to do that? And this was not the first time that he has approached her with this. And she goes, look, are the dishes getting in the dishwasher? Yes. Are they going to get clean the way I'm loading it? Well, yes, but it's not the most efficient. She's like, just stop and walk away. But that's the thing, is like, she's not doing it wrong and they're going to get clean. It's just a personal preference. So for me to impose, or for Michael to impose his personal preferences on me as if we are doing something wrong and like my way is the right way. It's like, no, it's not. It's just your personal preference of how something should be done.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And the kind of micromanaging manager is a very good example a lot of people have seen. And the other thing that I want to take away, kind of the analogy I want to have you, the other analogy that I want to bring into this is the team vibe. So you and your spouse are a team. When you have somebody who's like a ball hog or something like that, you might win games and stuff. You might do okay, but it's going to be breeding this like tension in the background that may or may not be talked about at all. And the other person on that team, who is very important to you, the most important person in the entire world, might be feeling some stuff where they're really wanting to get some of that off their chest. You don't want to be breeding that kind of thing in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, the team aspect is great. And it's like, it's vital in a marriage. I always do the laundry. One, because I have a way of doing it. But number two, I fold things in a certain way because that's the way that they fit into the dresser. I could never expect Michael to do those things that way. And if he puts clothes away, I just ask him. So he knows kind of the layout of the kids' closets, but for us in particular, our closets are in rainbow order. And then now I don't hold him to this particular standard, but when I put up the clothes, I put them by sleeve length. And
I didn't even know that. Also, remember Monica Bing right here, Monica Geller.
Also,
rainbow order. You ever heard of such a thing? I never did.
Up until about a year ago, you didn't realize that your clothes were organized in that way. And I have been doing that for you since day one.
9 years ago.
For 9 years. I was like, honey,
like I said, my gifts are in other areas.
And that is very true. That is very, very true. So for me to like say, okay, hey, when you put them away, Michael knows, like, just put them in the right color. I don't get upset at him for not putting them in the correct sleeve length. I just do that for me as like an OCD over the top thing. That's not something I'm like, oh, I can't believe you. How come you didn't do that? It's like, does that really matter? No. Did he do it wrong? No, he put it in the right color section. So he did it right. It's just a personal preference for me for sleeve length. So I don't expect him to, do everything the way that I do it. He definitely helps put away laundry, especially like if it's on our bed or something. Like, he does help. And when I ask him to do things, he does it. But for the most part, like, I do all of the laundry and I'm okay with that. So if if laundry is the tension point in your house, and maybe it does need to be an agreement where one person does it and then the other person just like helps put it away. Like there's one folder and then one putter awayer, like just be able to split the duties that way. But for Michael, for me to get upset at Michael for not doing exactly how I would, but he gets it right, that's just not an okay thing for me to hold over him.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things you can also do is, if you are the person who's spotting the inefficiency or the issue, at least in your mind, you can also ask, hey, do you want any feedback on how you're doing this right now? Because actually this has been done here. Because once we started talking about this dishes thing, it was like when you come at me and you've gotten a suggestion, I might want to know how to do this better, because it might help me save some time at the end of the night so I can play with the kids or do something else more fun. But if you come at me like a freight train, I'm just going to get annoyed by that. And I don't want any of that. So if you ask, hey, do you want any feedback? I have an idea of how you could do this better. At least you kind of put it out there for like consideration.
Yeah.
And it's a request.
That's good.
So you can say, nope, I'm good. I like my way. Thank you.
Now,
and you have to roll with that.
Yes. The person who asked cannot then offer. I don't want to say cannot. You should not. It is not wise to steamroll your spouse and to offer that feedback anyway, because they have expressed to you, no, I do not want your feedback. And as much as that kills the OCD cleaner, Michael said no. And so I'm like, okay.
That's right. I did.
I need no is no. And so I need to back off and just let him do it. Like I said before, if like tasks are like just legit not being done, that's a totally separate issue. But we're talking about tasks that are being done or differences that are being done that are just different. If your spouse is just not doing something, then that is a conversation that needs to be had, and ask them why they're not doing it and figure that out, dig a little deeper. But when you're just doing a task differently or approaching something differently, micromanaging your spouse is not going to help the relationship. It's going to hurt it, and it's going to shut down the person who is being micromanaged, and they'll eventually give up and they'll pull away, and that's going to find its way in communication, in intimacy, in every area of your marriage. If you continue to micromanage, it will continue to divide you and your spouse. 100%.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So you guys know, if you've been a listener for a long while, we have a challenge at the end of every episode.
Yes.
And this one is no different. So our challenge to you guys today is to talk with your spouse about these areas that you or your spouse are micromanaging.
Yeah.
And I would imagine there's at least one.
Mm-hmm.
Most people, I think, are struggling with this in some degree. So remember, be gracious, but also be honest too. Like, if something's bothering you, is one of the things my mom had always told me is basically, if something bothers you, get it out there early in a kind way, and it's a tiny little discussion. Whereas if you have something that's just laying there forever, it's going to be a huge deal.
A huge explosion.
Yeah. So don't do that.
Yeah. And our goal is with these challenges is just to spark conversation. It's to help, heal some wounds or have some conversation about some hurts that helps you heal with your spouse. Like these challenges, we just really, really want you guys to do them because we know that they have brought so much fruit into our marriage.
Yep.
Doing it because we do these. These are things that we have either done or are currently doing, because it's with I love when things are clean, and so I really have to check myself with that. And Michael has been very gracious about like it's okay, I got it, it's okay. But really, our hope is with these challenges that they bring you and your spouse closer together and really strengthen you guys. And so we would, if you ever do one, please contact us and let us know. And because we want to celebrate you. These are a big deal.
Yeah.
Strengthening your marriage is a big deal, and we want to celebrate that with you.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening. And the challenge should be fun this week.
Yeah.
So if you want to contact us, we're on all the socials.
Yep.
All of the things. You can check that out in the show notes below. And
You can also email
when I
us.
say show notes, it's like a YouTube video in the show notes. They are going to be below on the title.
Yeah. Well, you can also email us at marriagetalkspodcast@gmail.com. If you just want some privacy, that's always great too. But we really appreciate you guys coming in and week out. Seriously, we have been blown away by how many of you have been listening. I stalk the numbers. I'm a numbers person.
Yeah.
And
we're hitting milestones. We're like, whoa, I didn't think I'd see that at this year at all.
Yeah. It's been super encouraging and such a blessing to us. So thank you guys so much. Y'all are amazing. And if you like this episode, please share it and tag us. That would be really awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Talk to y'all next week.
Bye.